Hey coaches, here's one tip from Coach Luke to run play practice play sessions that actually work. The full interview drops soon.
So I was listening to a podcast like maybe a year or two ago. I can't remember who did it, so I can't credit them. But they had two guys, this is in England, and they had one guy who might have been at like Chelsea, two of the two Premier League teams, let's say Chelsea and Man United. And they were talking and about their youth soccer programs at the clubs. And the one guy said, well, we do 80% small-sided games for their practices, was the one guy. And the other guy was like, well, we do 90%. Um, so if that tells you anything, we're already play practice play is already behind, right? Because play practice play is 60%
Yeah.
of of scrimmaging, right? So it's like we just got to get the kids playing. And I try to mimic what those two guys were saying about what they're doing over in England with
Right.
trying to turn it into play.
Yeah, they're doing this all over Europe. Spain, England, Canada's doing a version of this called whole part whole. I think they call it that in England. And then Germany, from what I understand, they've just built a bunch of really small fields for doing small-sided games like this because they're all trying to push these small-sided games. So it seems like they're going in the right direction in the US.
Yeah,
One,
and like just about us, you and I grew up where we had a backyard that wasn't that big, and it was chain link fence all around, and it was just grass. Mom and Dad didn't plant any trees back there, and for 2 or 3 hours every day, it was just a cage match of small-sided game soccer, and we didn't know any better. And so somehow we were like already in this environment, and it was the 80s 90s,
yeah.
and we just had so much small-sided games, and it was obvious that it paid off. Like, that was such a good environment for us to be in. So we can look at our what we grew up with, and say, oh, this does work just from that. And even I was basically the mayor of recess, so it was a soccer game every recess.
Yes, it was.
Right? So it's like I'd bring the soccer
Yeah.
ball and everybody would just play, and it's just like it was just doing what US soccer is trying to do now in the 2020s. But we were
Yeah.
somehow lucked into that exact same environment when we were
Well,
kids.
I think a big aspect of this is make it fun for the kids so they play on their own. Because if they're not playing soccer on their own, just like we had to do playing in the backyard, playing at school, if they're not doing that, they're not going to make it anywhere in soccer, right? So if we
Yeah.
can make it fun for them, make it so they want to play on their own, they have a chance at a future
Yeah,
in the
like
sport.
we would call up our teammates and be like, "Do you want to play World Cup on the weekends?" And
Yeah,
even create our own small-sided games. But it's tough now. Everything's organized by mom and dad. It's a play date. But it's like that 10,000 hours rule is it's perfect for soccer because it's like those kids who get their 10,000 hours in fastest, they become the really good soccer players. So we got to try to encourage our kids to somehow get those 10,000 hours in. And I would even recommend to parents and even coaches is that the players don't need more coaching. That is not the answer. And I see a lot of parents who are like, "Oh, we're doing one-on-one coaching with this guru over here that works on this."
right.
And it's like, "Yeah, you're just wasting your money." You're just wasting money because your kid doesn't practice in the backyard, right? Like if your kid, I tell parents, if your kid's not practicing in the backyard, I wouldn't be driving them down to, in our case, Denver, so that they can be playing on this special team or that special team, right? They don't actually haven't shown that they love it, right?
Hey, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the full discussion on play practice play. And good luck in your next game.